Hi, my name is Annie Kim Sytsma. I am an AI strategist with Michigan Virtual. My background is I started as a high school English and psychology teacher, then worked in a district office as a instructional technology specialist, and what else was I? I'm sorry, as an instructional tech specialist, and then an intervention coordinator, and then I was an administrator, and now I am an AI strategist, and I serve districts and schools all across the state of Michigan.
Welcome to the show, Annie.
Thank you, thank you.
How are you?
I am good. I'm excellent. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Your role literally didn't exist a few years ago.
It did not.
And here you are in a brand new role.
Absolutely.
Now, before we cut the mic on,
Yeah.
I found out that you're born and raised in California. Well, not born and raised.
Not born and raised.
But grew up.
I grew up in California. Absolutely.
Where specifically?
In Irvine, California.
Irvine, California. Okay. I have to ask.
Processing.
How the heck did you end up in Michigan?
Good old Michigan, yeah. So I went to University High School in Irvine, California.
Okay.
Once I finished there, I was trying to, do the soul searching thing. I did not love the hustle and bustle of Orange County.
The traffic.
The traffic.
Let's just call it what it is, the traffic.
Right. Yeah. So I just wanted to look for something different. And then I looked and found Calvin University, which at that time was Calvin College. They gave me almost a full ride scholarship. So I packed up my life in the good old OC and drove out here at age 21, and I'm not sure why my parents let me do that as a 21-year-old female, but they did. And then I came out to the Midwest, and it was beautiful, and I loved it, and I love the pace of life. I love the people. And then the story goes, I met a boy, and,
What month of the year did you drive out? That's important.
So the funny story is they called me in December and said, we haven't heard from you because you got accepted and you can begin in February because they have like a January term. And I said, is there snow? And they said, yes. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to need to wait until the fall term.
Oh, wait.
So
Hold on. Pump the brakes. You told the college, no, I will start when it's convenient for me.
Yeah, that's kind of how I work.
Okay.
So welcome to me.
All right. And this came about through Carly Tila.
Yes.
Big shout out to Carly.
Yes.
Who was on the show last year.
Yes. And Carly and I actually know each other from MAET. We did our grad school program through MSU together. Shout out to MSU. Go Green.
All right. Sounds good. Well, now that we got that out of the way.
Yes. All of our intros.
How would you define your role? Like if I think I know what it is. I think I have a rough definition that kind of touches base on what the job description is, but define your role as an AI strategist.
Yeah. I think it changes all the time based on what our schools and our teachers and our students need. But really at the heart of it, it is putting our students first, our teachers first, in being able to help support where they're at to get to a place where AI is used in teaching and learning so that it can help fill gaps, it can help support students and teachers to help push them to where they need to be.
Okay. So you don't work with a school. You work with all schools who are willing to work with you, basically.
Absolutely. At this point, we have over 35 schools across the state of Michigan, Lower Michigan, and the UP that work with us.
For those of us who are not from here,
yes,
who might be listening or watching, there's UP, Lower. Define.
Yes. So there is the hand part of Michigan, right? The glove part of Michigan that people always talk about.
Whoa. I'm going to have to look it up on a map. I don't think I've ever noticed. It's literally a hand?
When people talk about where are you from Michigan, haven't you noticed people always bring out their hand?
No. I've heard Yooper, is it?
The Yooper, that's up UP.
Yeah, I've heard Yooper.
Yeah. So they usually do this, right? You've never seen that.
I see it now. It kind of looks like this.
It looks like a glove. So
yes. I thought a claw, but yeah, it looks like a glove.
Yeah. So when people say, where in Michigan are you from? Like people will say if they're from the Detroit side, they'll do this. we're right here right now. So they will usually use the hand to tell you whereabouts in Michigan are they from. Ooh, your mind is blown right now.
Gosh.
Yeah. And then the UP is the extension of the other hand that you put up. So you have to cross a
there's
bridge.
two
Hard
physical regions.
Absolutely. Please wait.
Okay.
Yes. So, I mean, it takes sometimes like 10 hours to get to the UP portion, the upper part of Michigan, but they are still Michigan. So we service all of Michigan. And there is actually a UP McCall.
There's a UP McCall?
There is.
When you say UP McCall, like a UP chapter of McCall or a UP McCall
like
conference?
An event, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So we will be doing that. I think that one's in May, I want to say.
Interesting. Oh my gosh. I'm like blown away right now. Okay. All right.
So we serve all schools in Michigan, to go back to what the original question was.
Gosh.
And whatever they need or they want to hear from us, that's what we serve. So in February, we were in Menominee, Michigan, which is part of the Upper Peninsula. And we had about...
Mahogany?
Menominee.
Monogamy?
Menominee.
Menominee, okay.
It's so much fun to say, Menominee. And we had 5 districts regionally come together, and I took a team from Michigan Virtual, and we did a whole day PD where we talked about kind of like an AI 101, and they were just about ready to start dipping their toe into that conversation and, why do they need it? How are their teachers using it? Talking about it as a teacher-facing tool as well as a student-facing tool.
Okay. I'm glad that you touched upon that because that actually is one of our first points that I'd like for us to discuss. In your work as an AI strategist with 35 schools, you said?
Or more.
Or more. I'm currently in a school district where AI is turned off for students. Mm-hmm. There's some hesitancy. I totally see it. If I was an administrator, if I was a superintendent, I would be losing sleep. Do we do this? There's a request for it. Everyone wants it open. Students are already using it. What do I do? What is the reception like, or at least if you could break down how many, or percentage-wise maybe, are districts opening it up for students here in Michigan? If so, to what extent?
I don't think I can give you a flat out percentage because
That's why I had a difficult time even constructing the question.
Every district is at a different place, right?
Their AI journey, if you want to call it that.
Absolutely, right? So I think one of the things that I have noticed is COVID happened, which was a major disruption to education. And then right after, we had another follow-up, a major disruption to education, which was AI. And so the back-to-back domino effect, people didn't know how to respond. So initially it was, ban it, ban it, ban it. It's the easiest thing to do. And now we're at a point of, oh my gosh, we really can't ban it. Everyone's using it. Guidance, regulations, what are we going to do?
Policies.
It is. And so I almost feel like we have 2 schools of camp. One that was we'll just see where it goes. And then now it's okay, corralling them all back. We've got to figure out what do we want to adopt? How do we want to go about it? And then the other school of thought that really comes from let's bring everybody back. Let's still limit it. Let's figure it out with our teachers first. So I don't know if there is a common way or a template way that we're finding across the board. Everybody's journey has been very different, which is why Michigan Virtual has come and heard, and we're listening to the stories of their journey and helping them along the lines of what is important for that district and the identity of that district and that community, because it is very different, right? But then also it's really important for us to talk about access and equity along those lines as well, right? So talking to districts about why does AI matter for that district, and according to what are some of the priorities that are important to that district in terms of their identity, and how does AI also fit into that, right? If they have a portrait of a graduate, if they have some other things that they have been working towards, does AI fit and align with that? Because we don't want anybody in education to feel like it's another extra, one more. We don't have room on our plates for that. So how does that AI either help that journey or add to it or even make it better?
Okay. All right. In your work and experience in districts that have it turned on for students, what are you seeing with the students? How is that changing how teachers are teaching and assigning things like homework? Because now it's open. Yeah. Not only can you go home to get some help, get some ideas with AI, or have it do it for you, but now with it open in the actual building, it can happen, and it's happening in the classroom.
Yeah,
So
I think
in those situations, what are you seeing?
I think the important thing first to address is the things that you cannot see. Before even turning it on, districts that are turning it on, they are making sure that they have those values and beliefs already set, and that the teachers are being trained to really think about how are these assignments going to be different now that students have access to that.
Okay.
I think that is so important to be able to bring in, because if these assignments are always the same and kids can just AI it, what is that doing, right? And then when I come in and work with a team of teachers. So one commonality I'm seeing is I'm being brought in to work with the specific departments of teachers.
Okay.
And being like, okay, this is a tool that we have adopted with this tool, and they would like to get some coaching and consulting on how they can do some assignments so that AI could be a companion for the students. So then we can work with teachers on how to create instructions and almost coding for the AI tools that students can now use. So for example, whether we talk about it in regards to Google Gems or let's say school AI spaces.
Yeah.
Writing it so that they have codes where students might have to do a paper or some kind of a product. They do the product, they upload a rubric. The rubric just evaluates the product, doesn't give them any kind of evaluation of their scoring or anything, but it can give them a check of, hey, here's where you're measuring and how you're doing. And then gives them like, this is an area that you may want to.
You're missing the theme, or your topic sentence is XYZ kind of thing, but it's not giving them a score. It's giving them feedback.
Correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure I was interpreting that correctly.
Absolutely. Thank you. So like if it says like, hey, how are you doing with the purpose? And then it'll go through that purpose category and say the purpose is in the column of, it's using the language of the rubric.
Yeah.
So then once the student sees that, then the student creates an action plan for themselves, right? So there is that growing of that metacognition and that reflection for the student, and the student creates that the action plan for themselves, and they do that. So there's a process that's growing for that student. It's not just about that grade.
Okay.
Right. So there are those types of components that can really change, and it's not a one grade end all be all, right? So working with some teachers of like, how do we start changing where AI fits into the process of an assignment or a product for a student, and how can we find a place for that? That's where the value of the conversations really come from.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing that sometimes when we do that, students are like, I don't want the AI in there. I don't want to use AI for that, because now AI is not that shortcut that they have kind of used it for. AI becomes a mirror for them, and they're like, oh, it makes it more challenging. I actually have to think, and that there becomes what we need them to do to grow.
You're making me think of my youngest son, who just turned 18, and we were inadvertently having a conversation that led to AI, and I'll never forget the words that came out of his mouth where he said, I forgot them, as I ironically said, I'll never forget them. But he said, if I ever have to use AI, I will never use AI to do that for me. Something along those lines. I can't believe I already forgot it. I already forgot it. But he said something along those lines that really made me stop and think. Because I there's this tendency to think of our students and they're going to use AI for everything. But they've been exposed to it for over 2.5 years now, going on 3. Actually, 3 years, going on 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
And the quote unquote vanity is kind of diminished. And now I think what I see happening is students are getting a little tired of AI all the time, shoved down their throats. And I'm seeing like a resurgence of the critical thinking components coming back. And I'm not sure if that's the case for you, but I'm seeing that, and it's kind of making me think along the lines of what you said about, you know, rethinking the assignment. And if you do it in such a manner, AI is not the shortcut, because the students still have to do that critical thinking piece, and that using AI will kind of not expedite the process. It makes the process even longer. With that being said, do you see teachers in the districts that you work at just say, I'm not even going to bother giving homework because I know they're going to do it?
Yes. But here's the thing, like, in being in education, we know the pendulum. We've seen it,
Yeah.
we've felt it, right? And we've also seen and felt the fear and hype cycle over and over. So the big thing that I want teachers and people who believe in education to hear is that AI is just another thing.
Students,
Mm-hmm.
what's a piece of advice you can give me on starting to kind of have those conversations with my students as a first year teacher with AI?
Talk about it.
Don't let it be the taboo topic.
Never have anything be taboo.
Okay.
And I think that's the thing. Put everything on the table, right? I think the more we don't talk about it, the more it grows as an ick factor, and then it becomes more taboo, and then it grows into something that it shouldn't. As a former high school teacher, the more you talk about it, the more it anchors into something that you help students have some kind of like anchor, right? So if I don't talk about it, it becomes something like hush hush, it's embarrassing, or we're not allowed to do this.
And then it gets quiet in the room.
And it's like awkward. Right? And we don't want that. So it's like anything. If we have norms in the classroom, well, we should have norms about when and where we can or cannot use this, right?
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, oh, okay. So if we're
With transparency.
Absolutely. And same thing. If as a classroom teacher, I'm like, oh, guys, I didn't have time to make these slides. I used AI today. Transparency is great, because then I expect my kids to do that
Teacher
too.
used AI.
Teacher used AI, right? And so, but that also models for my students when I want them to do that.
Yes.
Right? And so it's like, well, yeah, okay, so now, Johnny tells me he used AI on this final paper. I'd be like, yo, can't do that on a final paper, bud.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe for brainstorming, but I also want to give Johnny the opportunity on maybe like a journal or a reflection to show me when and where he used it and how, right? That type of a transparency. Yeah. Again, like giving them the opportunity to showcase, yes, they used it, but if the how and the whys aren't there, like that's not helpful.
Yeah. And if I'm a student and I'm given the opportunity to explain when and where I used AI, I'm more likely to use it in a better way.
And sparingly.
Transparently. Yeah. And that sneaky factor goes away. And now it's like, okay, I'm using it because I can. Mm-hmm. My teacher told me, I can use it. Mm-hmm. I just have to be transparent about when I used it, where I used it, how I used it, and how it ultimately affected the outcome of that. Now my brain power is going to kind of focus more on that final end product that I have to put together with the help of AI, but AI is not putting it together for me.
Yeah, I mean, as a high school administrator, I would have to talk to so many kids on the daily about this. And my question is like, can you walk me through your process?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so I had this, thing that I had to do. I said, okay, can you tell me what the prompt was? So student would tell me what the prompt was, and then be like, okay, they literally would copy and paste it. And some of these prompts were like, in your opinion. And I said, okay, well, I'm gonna stop you right there. I said, what about in your opinion did you feel like you had to put into the prompt? And I would say 9 out of 10 times it was an act of desperation.
Last minute. I'm in band. We had a competition.
Yep.
I had to get this done.
Get it done. And I was like, well, we don't do this out of desperation, right? Like sometimes you're going to have to take that. You're going to, like, you did wrong, right? You're going to have to figure those kind of things out. And so then I started thinking about, like, how do we change some of those things? Like, if we have to have an assignment that is a one-page assignment that's talking about in your opinion, and it is a formative assessment, could that be something that we start the day off as a walk-in assignment, right? Or an exit ticket at the end of
warm-up.
the day, right? That can also be, the teacher's going to use that as an AI, put all of those responses into AI and quickly generate where my students have gaps so that they can fill in, right, as a quick mini lesson. But if the teacher is going to get 30, this is a high school class,
33,
right, in every single hour, that many full page write-ups, how long is it going to take for that teacher to get the feedback and comb through?
Yeah.
Those are the things that I think about in regards to the assignments and the feedback and how helpful are these to the students in learning and growing.
Okay. You've given us a lot to think about. How can people learn more from you and connect with you?
Yeah, they can reach out to me. They can find me on the Michigan Virtual website.
Okay. What's the Michigan Virtual website?
Yeah, it's michiganvirtual.com, I think. Now you got me all twisted because I'm used to the school websites.
Okay.
Yeah. But they can also email me at aksytma@michiganvirtual.com. And then they can also find me on LinkedIn at Annie Kim Sytsma.
And all that information is going to be in the show notes. That way you can connect with Annie Kim. That way you don't have to pull over in the middle of your walk, your jog.
Yep.
Maybe you're shoving that French toast down your throat and you don't want to think about this right now. But you just click on it, get connected with Annie Kim, Michigan Virtual. That way you can learn more. And
it is michiganvirtual.org.
.org. I knew it was, but I just wanted to test.
Nice. Thank you.
I
appreciate the hot seat.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. I do have a couple more questions for you.
Perfect.
I'm going to narrow it down to one.
Okay.
I'm just going to go with one instead of two.
Okay.
And this is the question that I ask about 99% of all the guests that are on the show.
Okay.
I would like to say 100, but honestly, I've forgotten a handful of times. So I'll go ahead and ask you the $1 million question.
Okay.
This is the most difficult question you'll be asked the entire conference, quite possibly 2026.
Oh, gosh. Okay, I'm ready.
Corn tortilla or flour tortilla?
Oh, depending on what it
No,
is.
no,
just
no.
100% corn.
Okay, corn is the correct answer, I believe. We have No, I do have a lot of people. I respect a good flour tortilla as well, but
it all
and being that you're from
depends,
Cali too,
right. San
corn,
Diego. Oh man, now you're making me think about. Yeah,
it's good stuff, right?
it is good stuff.
Can you get that stuff here in Michigan?
No, not like that.
Oh, okay.
Now you just make me sad.
All right.
That's how you want to end? All right.
So, well, I appreciate you, everything you do for our teachers, our students with Michigan Virtual, and what you're contributing to the ever quickly evolving AI space, and everyone going through their AI journey. So,
thank you for what you do.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your conference.
You
Have
as
a
well.
great day, and I love that we get to talk about these things, and I look forward to learning more from you, with you.
Thank you. Likewise.